what is it that we are going to learn in this course? So there are certain skills which you will acquire after you undergo this course, after you read or learn this course. One is going to be the application of power converter circuits that I think I was mentioning in the previous session. Today also I mentioned power converter circuits. They are broadly 4 types. One will be the AC-DC part, another one will be the DC-DC, third one is the DC to AC inverter, fourth one will be the AC to AC voltage controller. We have very broadly speaking, there are 4 power conversions that are possible depending on the input voltage requirements, input and output requirements. Let us not tell voltage or current, input power and output power requirements. So that application part you will learn. So that is a skill which you will acquire after you undergo this course. And then how do you put a power converter into practical use for a given application? How do you design a power converter? And yesterday's session, if you can recollect, the most appropriate power converter, that was the key term, most appropriate. That will again be another skill, another expected attribute that you will acquire. Now, when you do these things, or when you are trying to acquire these 2 skills, these 2 knowledge sets, there will be certain softwares which are required. So some professional softwares like MATLAB and Simulink that you will learn. PSIM is another option, PSpice is another option. And when you extend these things, when you just try to put up the software results, simulation results, and prepare a report, you may need MathType or MS Paint, etc. So that you, I think, again, previous slide, I don't want to get into that. 3 assignments in digital form. The perfect digital form is going to be neat, is going to be possible when you have this MathType or MS Paint, when you use such professional softwares. So that is again another skill which is going to help you in the long run, because you will definitely be involved in writing a technical paper or reporting to your higher authorities if you get into a core company, wherein these skills are going to be useful to you. Right? That is the basic thing. Now, additional skills are, of course, this is a desirable one. Again, the situation I do not know. Anyway, you have plenty of time. When you come back to campus, probably during the next semester, you can still learn, or you can still acquire the remaining skills that are put up. PCB design. How do you make sure that a certain amount of current flows through a given path? That is where the thickness of track and what is the material that you are going to use, how many layers you are going to use in a PCB, things like that will be helpful. So that is a skill which you will, again, new skill that is going to be needed if you are going to get into a core company, and if you are going to be involved in design of power converter circuits and what is called as a gate driver circuit. You will be learning these things, of course, hardware testing and prototyping. So those skills are desirable. Definitely, out of 2, 4, 5, out of 5, you can acquire 4 skills for sure. 5th one, it may just take some more time. That's all. Not that you will miss out. You may have to wait for some more time depending on the situation. That's all. Okay. So now getting on with the job. What is power electronics for us? What is it going to do for us? See, the main idea is these 2 things: control and coordination of electric power. The meaning of control is, have you undergone a course on control systems? Okay, to know the response of a particular system. Okay, good. Then any other opinions? Any other answers? Okay, that's fine. Let me get into that later on. What is coordination then? You have a lot of coordinators, right? So what is the meaning of coordination? To be, what is it that is going to be? I mean, you have a system, which means the system means just a combination of blocks. So you have various combination of blocks. Those combination of blocks are going to be working in tandem with one another, which means in coordination with one another, so that you get a particular desired output. You get what you want from that overall blocks, combination of blocks. This is actually control and coordination. Now, when we have such blocks, when we are going to process electrical power, when those blocks are going to be comprised of power semiconductor devices, we call it as power electronics. That's all. Okay. So you have set of devices. It could be semiconductor devices. It could be inductors, capacitors, resistors, electrical energy elements, electrical elements. It could be various elements put together. Those elements, they are going to form various blocks. But those blocks are going to be working in coordination with one another, and they meet a particular objective of processing electrical power. We call that as power electronics. Now, what is processing of electrical power? I think I have mentioned. I'll keep repeating this. AC to DC power processing, DC to DC power processing, DC to AC, AC to AC. So power is going to, electrical power is going to be available in two forms, AC form or DC form. Depending on the available form, depending on the required form, we are going to process using power semiconductor devices. This is power electronics for us. Right? Fine. Now, what are the applications? Where are we going to use all these power processing, power semiconductor devices? I have mentioned four very generic, very broad applications. One is going to be domestic application, wherein the examples are put up in brackets. Lamp ballast is one, LED is another. So this is where I would like to show you certain things. I'll show what is called as a lamp ballast. I'll show you what the LED, of course, you might have seen. I will show you both. Then industrial application, electric drives, I may not be able to show. These are few examples: cranes, hoists, lifts. They are examples of industrial drives, industrial applications. Power system, again, you have renewable energy that is coming in. So you all know smart grid is a very coming field. Smart grid, micro grid, IoT enabled smart grid or grid network. So they are upcoming fields. So those fields are mainly sort of thriving because of the background effects. Background power electronics plays an important role. Similarly, when you take automotive applications, e-vehicles, again the buzzword, one of the buzzwords that is again coming up in a big way, e-vehicles. That is mainly due to various factors, but power electronics plays a very, very, very important role inside the electric vehicle. So the electric vehicle, apart even normal conventional IC engines, there are few loads like headlamps, like wipers. So their power converters are used. You have a power electronic interface between the battery and the electrical load. So that power converter is going to give the electrical energy in needed form, electrical power that is needed by the headlamps or the wiper. Okay. So there again, power electronics plays an important role. These are few applications. Before I start the demo, I will see if something else is there. So what is the scope? You have it is a core field wherein you have industrial applications, electric drives, and things like rather companies like Danfoss, companies like Value, or you can have you can say L&T. So these are huge L&T is there, and then GE. These are companies which are involved in big R&Ds. Not only R&Ds, they are into manufacturing as well. So the scope for as a student is you can get on, you can think about those core areas, you can think about those core companies. Fine. And then as far as research issues are concerned, obviously renewable energy supply sources or supply, e-vehicles, electric vehicles, microgrids, smart grids. So these are emerging research areas. So these research areas again, power electronics, power electronic converters, controllers, they play a very, very important role in making sure that these fields are coming up in a big way, and these fields are actually developing. In fact, if you can recollect the history of electrical power, power electronics had a very, very important role. before 1960s. Actually, SCR was invented in 1958, late 1950s. Before that, people had used huge electric drives. People had used only the resistive way of controlling the electric drives. But after the invention of SCR thyristors, the entire drive industry, industrial drives, they took up a very neat, very good turn. That is actually second revolution of power electronics. First revolution was on devices. Second revolution of power electronics that happened in 1960s, 1970s. Then came the third revolution of power electronics, where controllers, new modern controllers through microprocessors, they were introduced. Control techniques, control of induction machines, they were actually matured. That field started maturing, and then efficient drives came into existence. So that was the third revolution of power electronics, and then 1980s was fourth revolution, where again there was good control techniques like physiologic neural networks. They were implemented in industrial drives. That was 1980s. From 1990s to 2000, that was the fifth revolution, wherein the devices actually were modified. New efficient devices like IGBT. IGBT expands insulated gate bipolar transistor. We will learn about the IGBTs. We'll show you IGBT modules as well. So the devices played another role in coming out with compact but efficient power converters. So that was the fifth revolution. Sixth revolution is nowadays. From the 2000 onwards, from the year 2000 onwards, in the millennium. Application part, the compact part, and then the efficiency with cost-effective nature. All these things combined together, people are looking at, let's say, it is not going to be anymore. Hereafter, it is not one solution fits for all. That is not the case. Custom power devices, custom-made solutions. Custom power devices has got a different meaning, but then you give one problem for that particular application, for that particular problem, what is the most appropriate power converter that's going to be possible. That is the trend as of now. Fine. So this is what is in store as far as the course is concerned. And then, fine. Now, how are we going to realize what we want? For that, we need to understand what is actually power electronics. We know control and coordination of power, but how do we do that? What is it that is making power electronics possible? So, please remember two things. One is switching. Power electronics is all about switching at high frequencies. Because of this, we will be having compact magnetic structure. Magnetics would mean inductors and transformers. Because we switch at high frequencies, the size of the inductance is going to be reduced, size of the transformer is going to be reduced. So this is what power electronics is all about. It is about switching and having a compact magnetic element. Magnetic element, inductor, and transformer. That's it. Okay. Now, if we want to do this, what are the elements that are available in this? Now comes that coordination. How do we make sure that the coordination is happening between various blocks, various elements? So what are the elements that are available in electrical engineering? Three elements, R, L, and C. So I have just put up a small table where I have indicated R, L, and C. Second column says opposes. What is the effect of that opposition? So resistance is going to oppose rate of, not rate of current flow or rate of flow of charges. Because it opposes flow of current, heat is going to be dissipated. And you know I squared R is the heat dissipation. Now, because heat is going to be dissipated, what happens to efficiency from a power conversion perspective? If you have an intermediate resistor, what happens to the efficiency of the overall power conversion process? Is it desirable to have resistor in a power electronic converter? In power electronics, our intention should be to minimize value of resistance. Fine. When we try to minimize the value of resistance, it means we are trying to reduce the heat that is dissipated as a waste. Thereby, we are trying to make the power conversion process more efficient. This is the underlying fact. So, our intention should be to minimize R. Okay. If we want to minimize R, there must be other elements that are going to support the power conversion, the energy flow. Therefore, the other two elements which come handy are, one is the inductor, other one is the capacitor. Both are energy storage elements, and they don't consume any real power. Ideally, ideal L, ideal C, they don't consume any real power, but then they store energy in the form in various forms. Now let us try to understand what does L oppose. Change in current, good. Sudden change in current is also correct. What is the effect of that opposition? Or how does an inductor show its opposition to rate of change of current? By developing voltage across it, that is induced EMF. Good. So, inductor is going to oppose rate of change of current. Because it is opposing rate of change of current, EMF will be induced across it. You call it as back EMF because it is going to be in opposition. Voltage is going to be induced, and then it is going to store energy in the form of magnetic field. Once you know this, understanding capacitor is going to be just a dual of this. So capacitor is going to oppose rate of change of capacitor, purpose of capacitor, or property, not even a purpose, property of capacitor. So it opposes rate of change of effect will be whenever voltage across capacitor tries to change, capacitor doesn't like it, therefore it will throw an impulse of current. Fine. So it shows its opposition as current in this impulse of current. Energy obviously is going to be stored in the form of electric field. So we will be using these three elements. Out of these three, resistance, don't use resistance. Don't add a resistance deliberately in power conversion circuits. Fine. So in power electronics, in power converters, don't add a resistor. Never use a resistor. Why? Because it is a dissipative element. It is a lossy element. Don't use a resistor. Rather, use switches with very low resistance. Use inductors, use capacitors, arrange them suitably. That is coordination part. Then make sure that you turn them off at proper instance so that power conversion is going to be efficient. Fine. This is the essence of power electronics. We switch at high frequencies so that the size of the inductor is brought down and we get an efficient, compact power converter. This is power electronics for us. Fine. Okay, so I have put up here as well. So the intention will be to increase the efficiency by reducing the losses by judiciously using switch elements. Fine. And then comes the summary. So it is about switching. This part cutoff and saturation region. I have a different. I have another diagram. The switches, they are operated at frequencies. I told you it's an enabling technology to process new fields of technology like smart grid, electric vehicles. They are new fields and new technologies. Power converters, it's going to be interface between the supply and the load. This is the summary of whatever we have seen.